Camille Dardanes grew up in Chicago and came from an upper middle class family. She was described as very talented, highly intelligent, and a natural beauty. Camille did very well in both school and athletics. She was a straight-A student, took ballet for 9 years, and she was also a semi-pro ice skater. At the age of 21, she became captivated by news reports of Gary Dotson. Gary Dotson was an infamous convicted rapist. His accuser withdrew her story, however, and admitted that Gary was innocent. Camille decided to attend Gary's hearing and briefly interacted with him. The two of them started dating as soon as he was released. For Camille, it felt like a fairy tale. Their marriage in 1985 was big news, and they even featured on Good Morning America. The false accuser of Gary wrote a book and gave the proceeds to Gary, so their financial life was looking good as well. Gary and Camille then had their first and only child named Ashley. Camille was living her dream life, but unfortunately things soon took a turn for the worse. Gary quickly spent all of the money they had and started to drink more. Each time he would drink, he would become more violent towards Camille. He also racked up several DUIs and got involved in fights at bars. Camille finally had enough and filed for legal separation. She and Ashley moved to Las Vegas to be as far as possible from Gary. This was a very tough time for her, and she struggled to make ends meet. Camille had no higher education and very little job experience. She started to dance at various local strip clubs. One of the clubs was the Crazy Horse, which was owned by a mobster by the name of Jack Collardi. While working in these clubs, Camille started to use marijuana and cocaine. Camille fell in love with a man by the name of George Cruz Diaz Jr. The two of them married, and Camille even got a tattoo on her hip of the name Cruz. The marriage was not a positive one, however. Cruz started abusing her, and Camille became very dependent on cocaine. Camille's mother, Barbara, decided to move back to Chicago and took Ashley with her. Ashley and Barbara would never see Camille again. Things kept getting worse for Camille. A list of drug charges resulted in several warrants for her arrest. Her teeth also got discolored because of the substance abuse she did. Camille became very paranoid and fearful. She told her friends that she was being followed and that she was very afraid of someone, but unfortunately she never gave any details. The exact date that Camille disappeared is unknown, because no one seemed to notice, sadly. It is known it was in 1994. Camille's mother, Barbara, and Ashley moved back to Las Vegas and found out Camille had not been seen for about 7 months. A missing persons report was filed, but the police wasn't very interested. Barbara was forced to search for her daughter on her own. She walked from club to club, trying to hear if anyone has heard from Camille, also questioning locals and hanging up posters. In 2003, a childhood friend of Camille by the name of Sherry heard that Camille is missing and called the police to hear if there were any updates. She was shocked to discover there was no investigation. Camille's missing persons report had been mysteriously deleted by someone in the police department just a few weeks after it was filed. Could this be a possible sign of a cover-up? Camille had spent time with a cop around the time of her disappearance. It is possible that a cop could have been Officer William Brooks. The officer frequented clubs and later died in prison for cocaine trafficking. This could explain why the report was mysteriously deleted. Ashley gave the police her DNA for in case they ever found an unidentified body. At the time she disappeared, Camille wasn't with Cruz anymore, but they were never divorced. She was living at 2110 Paradise Road, apartment 26, with Francisco Kiko Fernandez. Francisco left the US every now and then to go back to his homeland of Cuba. It is not impossible that Francisco smuggled Camille out of the country. Barbara actually went to a psychic once that predicted Camille was alive and hiding in a foreign country. It is important to note that Francisco has several charges of domestic battery on his criminal record. Camille's second husband, Cruz, was later convicted of attempted murder and refuses to talk with Camille's family. A tip also came in where the person stated that they believe Camille was murdered by a 1%er biker gang who buried her in the desert. It's also very possible that it was just a random attack on her due to her high-risk lifestyle. One of the people close to Camille claims that she talked a lot about being approached by the police to be a confidential informant against the mob-related owners of the Crazy Horse where she worked. Perhaps the mobsters found out that Camille leaked information about them to the police and wanted to silence her. One of the numbers in her phone, under the name of Dimitri, was the number of the FBI, which would totally back up this theory. Ashley and a few of her friends started to investigate themselves since the police doesn't seem to want to. The search team grew bigger and bigger as friends and strangers started to help as well. It was one of Ashley's friends who got in contact with me recently, asking me to cover this case to get more exposure and get some fresh eyes on it. The police simply does not care, so they are stuck searching for Camille all on their own. Ashley misses her mother greatly and deserves to know what happened to Camille. I ask all of you nicely to please share this video or anything about this case around. It just takes one person to come forward for this case to be solved. I will also add the link to a Facebook page where you can learn more about this case and perhaps help with research. If you have any information, even if you think it is extremely insignificant, please email them at findcamille@yahoo.com. Camille was a white woman with brown hair and brown hazel eyes. She stood at 5'7" and weighed between 125 pounds and 145 pounds. Her teeth were slightly discolored and her nose was recently broken. She had a tattoo on her right hip of the name Cruz. She smoked Marlboro cigarettes, may have used the first names Nicole, Renee or Kim, and the last names Clark or Diaz. She was 30 years old when she disappeared and would be 55 years old today.